What makes a song a copy? In this video we're going to briefly analyze a fairly recent case, Marvin Gaye vs Ed Sheeran, about the similarities between Let's Get It On and Thinking Out Loud. The lawsuit was brought by the estate and heirs of late producer Ed Townsend, co-writer of Let's Get It On. According to the lawsuit, Sheeran had committed willful copyright infringement and allegedly copied all these elements from the plaintiff's song. So let's pretend to be musical experts analyzing the case for the court. For simplicity's sake, we'll analyze the chord progression only. Did you spot it? It was subtle, but did you spot it? Let's hear them again and compare the sheets. I believe it's pretty clear to everyone now that there is a small difference. This note. Oh yeah, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, but it's just the same thing, it's just one note, such a small difference. And you are right. However, according to music theory, this changes everything. Let's see why. This is a scale. Every note on the scale is called a grade and can be identified with a number. The first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth, or first, since it's the same initial note but with a higher pitch. We really care about 4 grades now, the first, the third, the fourth and the fifth. Now, let's construct triads. A triad is a combination of 3 notes, and in this case they're called the root, the third and the fifth. This particular triad is in root position because the root is at the bottom. But what about the emotional impact of a triad? The triad on the first grade of the scale emanates a sense of rest. The fourth gives a sense of movement. And the fifth sounds like reaching a peak. This chord, instead, is complicated to explain, so we're just not going to do that. Now let's transpose the progression in the same key of the pieces. There we go. Comparing the progression to the Let's Get It On sheet, we notice that these are the same chords we have constructed. Now let's visualize that Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud. We can correctly identify 3 chords. But what about this one? If we pay attention to the first 2 chords, we notice they sound similar. The only difference is that the root note is not at the bottom, but at the top. The second triad is in fact the first inversion of the first triad. We can now correctly identify this triad, and although it emanates a bit more movement, the main sensation is rest. So without even taking into account the very different melodies, there is indeed a different intention behind the 2 songs, something that can't really be disregarded on a musical perspective. Still, they do sound similar, don't they? But is it a copyright infringement? The question is then, how can courts deal with such borderline cases?